Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I am Mountie Curl, and we are back for another day of Let's Talk on the Division. I can feel the life rushing back into my veins, coursing through me as I see more of the Division 2 stuff. And finally, once I get my hands on it, it will be amazing. But until then, this is all we got. I really hope that what we saw in these last couple of days is very exciting for you guys who have stuck with the Division, and we'll talk about some of the hits and misses of the show in another one of these. But let's talk about our E3, the Division 2 Part 2 Let's Talk right here on the pause screen. Alright guys and gals, it has been an exciting 48 hours from the time the Division 2 trailer hit on the Xbox showroom floor to yesterday's Ubisoft press conference to today's stream reveal. And so we want to go into just a few things, and so I want to just talk about the Division, the first one, and how they were able to bring some of the things together to make the Division 2 that much better. How they have learned how much, more realistic it could be, much more creative, and sure, there are going to be some things that we wanted for, that didn't carry over from the Division that we really wanted to be in the Division 2, but I think that enough time will pass that we'll be able to talk about what made us salty on the Division, things like the lies that Ubisoft told us, the feeling of the simulation, cookie cutter enemies, and what needs to be done to make the game work for the masses, make the guns impactful, make other things happen, build on a story, don't just drop it off at the end and create a tape that's there. We want things that progress our involvement with it. And so I'm going to get into that eventually in another Let's Talk, and we'll break it down in a lot more. So let's start off with one thing that is on everyone's mind, the one thing people asked for in the original Division, and that was a class system, also known as specializations. And I believe that the specializations that they announced are actually one of the things that are going to solve the biggest problem in the Division, and that is the meta. So let's go ahead and talk about this. One thing is for certain that Massive is implementing some new features to remove a lot of those aspects, a lot of the things that made the meta this game, that made the Division just a meta game. The new meta is what everybody ran and everybody went there. And so this specialization is going to make it more determined on team loadouts and specializations. So let's break down the specializations. Specializations are endgame content. You won't have to access, you won't have access to them until you reach level 30, which is the level cap, which I believe was confirmed through the fake playthrough, the one where everybody's like, hey, I heard I reached level 30. Well, congratulations. Oh, that's so good. So at level 30, you get the choice of just like Destiny, basically. This will encourage players to play through the game multiple times to max out multiple specializations, which is something this game definitely needed from the start, and I'm glad to see it come here. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these specializations and talk about them. There's 3 of them. The first specialization we'll cover is the Specialist. This Specialist appears based on the description to have traps, status effects, and a crossbow. This description actually says a lot more about the rest of the game and about how the specializations work, because the others just kind of mention the weapons that you get. This one actually mentions that there might be some skills in a skill tree that you will progress through. This one makes you think that there are going to be skills attached to the character. So if that's true, then that could change the game for the better. Gone are the days of everyone running around with whatever OP bullshit meta is the new thing that week, that everyone's running, that everyone's figured out. This is going to make the endgame that much better. Next, we have the Demolitionist specialization. Disrupting enemy plans and entrenched positions with a grenade launcher. One of the items missing from the Division 1 is, the grenade launcher. They had a slot for it. They had it in the game in some aspects, but it was sadly missing from the end game, or the actual just game. I can't speculate on what the skills would be for the Demolitionist specialization other than what we saw in the gameplay, which appeared that the character was using the Hive, maybe a Seeker Mine. As I previously said, this could mean the end of all these kiddies running around with the meta, with a shotgun. No more Seeker Mine one-shot builds for everyone in the game. It's going to be based on the choices that you make at the end game, and when people want to run the meta, they'll need to make a new character, go through everything again, redo the specialization, get to the max. Once again, all speculation until we see the end game and the finished product. We can't even say for sure if the beta will contain any more tidbits of information than what we're seeing at E3, but for all intents and purposes, it appears the grenade launcher won't just be explosive though. It looks like there might be some Geneva Convention breaking chemical warfare going on here, since they call it a chem launcher at some point in the trailer. Finally, we have the sharpshooter class. From what I've seen, this is the one people are looking forward to playing the most because, as you know, after like the first couple of releases of the first division, that specialization into sniper rifles kind of went away. There was a lot of bad decisions made. So let's just go ahead and say that this actually is going to make up a lot of wrongs. I'm not looking forward to this one. I know a lot of people are, but you know, it's an aim thing. As if you've seen my division videos on Xbox, you know for certain that I can't aim with a controller for shit. It appears that the sharpshooter will focus more on a stealth and cover gameplay, being able to easily take out targets from a distance, quietly, quickly. I hope that this is true, and gone are the days of having to face tank shotgunners. I hope they have learned that nobody's running up to you with a shotgun. You know, I hope they realize this, and I hope that those days are gone, and it's going to be a little bit more tactical rather than the bullshit that we had to deal with in the division with shotgunners, with even in PvP with people just running up with shotguns, side strafing, all that stuff. Hopefully they have learned and all of that stuff is fixed, and it seems like it has. So now, just to go over some other endgame content really briefly, there's going to be 8-player raids going into it. I'm excited about that. I think that this is definitely a point in the right direction. They really made this game with the endgame content in mind when they made it. So I think that we'll see a lot more endgame content and less of the beginning content, because the endgame content's what's keeping people around. Playing through 1 through 30, that's not going to keep people around. It's the endgame content that's really going to put it. So I think that they really did a great thing. They've learned. They've had 3 years to learn from their mistakes, and they've done that. They did a brain dump. They've learned from the community. They've talked to us. They've listened to our YouTube videos, all that stuff. And that is something that they've done and something that they've taken to heart. And it is now something that we're going to get to witness in a brand new game. They've had a chance to build it with all of that feedback in mind. So let's hope that they do it and they do it right. So that's really good. 8-player raids, just like Destiny, Destiny only has 6-player raids or 5 or whatever it is. And so I think that, you know, a lot of people are going to already start making these websites now to find raid groups just like Destiny. In fact, I guarantee most of these guys are already getting ready to start building these things ahead of time. So look for the news breaks for more information about these raids as the information becomes available. I definitely think that they're going to be better than the incursions, but I don't think incursions are going to go away. I think they will still be here, and I think they're going to be 4-player incursions. I think that there's going to be 8-player raids, stuff like that. It's going to be great. So now let's wrap it up and bring it all home. My biggest concern of Division 2 is the story. And from reading what the story is about, it is about preventing America from falling and preventing a coup from happening, with no mention of Aaron Keener. We may not get any closure from New York. Strangely, I'm okay with this. There's a lot of people that aren't, and we could get a surprise twist where Aaron Keener is the staging of the coup or working with someone else who's behind it, and we won't really know anything until such a time. But right now, it's looking highly unlikely that we're going to actually get that closure or get a full story closure. We might get some news broadcasts. We might get some Rick Velasquez style news segment podcast or something like that. But that is that. Moving on, gear sets. Gear sets have been replaced, it looks like, and that's great. I think that gear sets needed to be replaced. They will now be dedicated sets to each specialization class from what I saw. What we saw today, and you know, many people have reported that the classified gear and the gear sets have been rebranded as brand sets, which sound like they're going to be for specializations. So each of the sets will be for specializations, which you can specialize in through the progression, but not much is known. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good thing. I'm super excited about that. personally looking forward to seeing the beta and getting a good look at what the game has to offer. I mean, there are a lot of really good things that I can say about that. So now let's talk about the thing. Let's go ahead and we'll get into the editorial thing. I know I don't want to go too long, but I want to talk about my feelings on this game. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I'm super excited. I was not a big fan of The Division after they made so many changes and they mucked it up, and they finally turned it around in August of 2016. My fear is that they've burned a lot of players, and I don't think those players are going to come back unless this is just absolutely the end all be all of a really great game and they've changed it to the point where players actually want to come back. My biggest fear, though, is that with Anthem releasing on February 22nd, those players that would have maybe come back aren't going to come back unless Anthem is absolutely garbage. But you also have a ton of other games. You got Crackdown coming out. I know that it's not going to be a community game like this. It's not a live game. And there's a ton of other games coming out. There's going to be people that are going to be 6 months into Fallout 76 by the time, or 4 months into Fallout 76 by the time this comes around. And who knows, maybe they'll want to stick with that. We got Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out in November as well. So people might choose to play Red Dead Redemption, then move on to Fallout 76. And it's going to leave really a very narrow window of playtime for people to go ahead and sink into The Division. So unless it's a great game, you're not going to see the support. You're not going to see the player base. There's going to be people like myself. There's going to be people like, Afflicted and Infamous and Dark and all these people, Matt, and I can't even think of everybody, Clancy Elites and SitRep Radio and all these people who are going to dedicate time to The Division. But the fact remains that there's a lot of really good games coming out, a lot of really live games coming out. And that worries me that we're going to see a huge drop in the player base of The Division 2. And maybe people will still pick it up and play it. I mean, it's really great for the initial thing. But if they haven't learned, and there's a lot of things in the game that don't agree with players, you're going to see a huge drop. You're going to see other players looking for other options, because unless Anthem is absolutely terrible, I know a lot of people who are playing The Division right now who are going to jump over to that. And that's not to say they won't jump back and forth, but if they're not spending 100% of their time on The Division, then that's still, we're losing players left and right that are going to be there at the end of the day. So I think it's going to be very detrimental. My advice is I would move up the release date of The Division to the beginning of February, maybe a Valentine's Day release, something like that, or push it back into July. What better day to release than July 4th of 2019? I mean, Independence Day. That's the way it is. I mean, there are things like that. And summer is notoriously shitty for releasing games. I mean, no game. It's like a drought. I mean, E3 comes around and then you don't see any games until September, October, because those are where the holiday seasons start to ramp up. But I have a feeling that The Division 2 is going to be okay. I think we're going to see, we're going to build content. We're going to have content here. I'm going to continue to do the Let's Talks. I know a lot of people have missed those Let's Talks like this one from me, but this is we're bringing it back. We're running it back. And I think it's time that we get back to the roots. I'm just letting you know my concerns from everything I've seen. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of, they've taken and basically dumped the original in the trash and remade it with everything they learned. I mean, this is like building a shitty building, watching it fall over 100 times and rebuilding it. And then finally, you know what? We're just going to rebuild the entire thing, foundation and everything from scratch, and rebuild it right this time. And so that is what I feel is going to happen. And I don't think that it's going to be a bad thing. I think that a lot of people, if The Division is done right, will actually pass on Anthem. They'll pass on Crackdown. They might play it here and there, but they're not going to dedicate a lot of time to it like they would The Division. So that's really my thought on it. I know a lot of people out there, you guys are hating on The Division right now because of the way things have gone in the past, but my suggestion is give it another shot. I mean, there is a dedicated YouTube community out there ready to help you. Matt, Buzz Lightyear, those guys have build videos. Cal, Tyler, Taylor, Uber Timmy, like all these guys out there have these great videos for you. And I mean, they're doing the vendor resets. They're doing, they've picked up a lot of stuff and Marco's still doing his, investigative videos, and those are top notch. And all of these videos are great. And I would highly suggest that you go take a look at some of them, what they've been doing. And if you haven't visited the division lately, I would recommend highly you go back, spend a couple hours looking around, seeing what they've changed and seeing how much work they've actually put into it to really bring it to where it needs to go. And I commend Massive, and I commend all of the guys on the dev team who I've talked to through email and stuff like that behind the scenes, and helping them to eliminate some of the glitches and stuff like that. I really hope that this is a reckoning, it's a rebirth, and I hope that you guys will give it another chance. If you're watching this and you haven't played the Division in a while, just give it another chance. Go back, try it out, see what they've changed, and then, if you don't, I'm not saying keep it. It's free on Game Pass right now. Why not just go try it out and see what it's like? I do hope that they put in the Battle Royale mode. I know a lot of people don't want that, but I hope that that's in there. I hope that replaces the survival mode. I do like survival mode, but I hope that replaces it. But I think they're going to... and I've heard that they have confirmed there will be some Dark Zone thing going on, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to speculate on that. They're not showing that, and I do think that there's going to be different game modes and stuff like that we'll see. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this. We went a little bit over time as to where I was going with this, but hey, that's what you get with me. You want, hopefully your commute's 15 to 20 minutes long. That way you could listen to this in the car or something like that. But we're going to have more and more of these as we go along. And as the Division 2 ramps up, we're going to take a little hiatus, but we'll be back in a couple weeks as we take vacation. I might live stream a couple times during that time so you guys can see what I'm doing. For those of you who are over in the UK, I'll be hitting you guys up because you guys wanted to meet me, and I'll be hitting you guys up so that you guys can come and have a pint with me, and we'll see how that goes. So for all of us here, if you guys like this, but I gotta get paid, right? For all of us here, at the Division, I'm Mountie Carl, but hey, we need you guys to support us. We need to drop a like on this video, subscribe on this video, and keep coming back for more content. We're not going to stop helping people build up their streams and stuff like that. So if you got questions or anything like that, we're here to help you. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like to support our channel, feel free to even donate a couple bucks here and there. I don't ever ask for donations because I don't necessarily need it. But hey, if you guys want to keep it running and keep things going, I'd be more than happy to take a couple bucks off your hand, and you can throw a little charity my way. But until next time, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. E3 is almost done. So for all of us here at the Division Let's Talk, for Pause Screen Media, I'm Mountie Carl, and we'll see you guys next time. Unpause.